Hi everybody, it's Dana LaRae, and I want to start this video off with a moment of silence for everyone that was impacted by the LA fires and anyone that lost their belongings, their lives, their friends and families that were impacted. I just want to silence the room for a moment. I'm sending you my love, my light, my healing. I know that the fires devastated a lot of people, and I'm currently in LA, although a lot of you know or may not know, I'm from Chicago, but during the time where the fires were at their height of activity, I was here for that. I think I wanted to make this piece because I wanted to talk about some of the things that I learned from the fires. Not only from a perspective where I'm looking outward, but where I'm also looking inward. So it's gonna be a little bit of comedy in this because y'all know I'm silly. So before I start, I just wanna say I gotta be myself, even in the devastation. When I found out that the fires were actually going on out here, I was with one of my clients, my most important client. Me and her had decided to go out and I think we had to do some recording work for her, and we found ourselves at the library. She looks over at me because I guess, you get an alert on your phone, people start calling, people start texting, and she's just like, there's a fire that broke out in the Palisades. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Palisades, I wasn't even familiar with this area until I looked on a map. The Palisades is literally just a few neighborhoods over from me. She was explaining to me because she had been in the area that we were in for over 20 years, and she's just like, the only thing it takes is for a breeze to come through, and the fire that's in the Palisades could be where we are right now. So her telling me that, I'm from Chicago, I don't know the area as well as I should, even though I've been here on and off for years. So I immediately started kind of panicking, and I'm like, so are we supposed to just dismantle at this very moment, or are we supposed to, like, what is this giving? So she's just like, no, we'll just keep an eye on it. And people start calling her phone, people start calling my phone, which I want to take a moment out and say I absolutely love everyone that checked on me, everyone that DM'd me, everyone that called, that texted to be like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? That really meant a lot. I was like, I felt so important. Needless to say, the area that we were in, because it was so close to the fires, me and my client, we both live in the same neighborhood, we lost power. And as soon as we lost power, I started panicking because I'm like, hold on. We ain't got no power? So me and her are like, trying to figure it out. The day my session with her is up, I'm her executive assistant for those who don't know. I'm like, okay, now what's going on here? What are we gonna do? So because me and her are like close outside of my executive assistant role to her, she's like, I'm gonna go to my friend's house. You're welcome to come. And I'm not from LA, but I do have places that I could stay if something went down. Like I have my sibling out here, Ash, and I have a good friend of mine named Kenneth, and he's a native to LA. So they're in areas where it's closer to Los Angeles and there's no fire breaks out there yet. So I remember going home that night and I had set my client up because she's older. I had set her up at her friend's house, and I'm like, I know her friends, and they're just like, if you need to stay here, it's not a problem. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna monitor my power, see if it comes back on. Eventually it came back on. This is when I started losing track of time. There's a fire in the Palisades. There's a fire called the Eden fire. There's a fire called the Ventura fire. Like, there's just fires that start breaking out. And guess where my neighborhood is? It's right in the middle. So I started looking around like, why is there a fire on every end of the axle? And I started thinking to myself, like, maybe this is a sign to go to Chicago. Like, you have to imagine the types of calls I was getting from my family. They're like, why don't you, yeah, we know you out there and you doing your thing, but I don't think this is, and I have, some of my family is religious. So I got the Christian thumpers on the line. They just like, God is burning that place down and you need to go. And I'm looking like, not that it's being set on fire because of the righteousness of the Lord. Not saying but that's the energy they were giving me. One of my best friends was planning to come visit me the next day, like in LA. We had bought their flight a month ago. So she's texting me like, hey, is everything all right? I'm like, yeah, the fires, I mean, how do you tell somebody? The fire is not on my neighborhood, but it's around my neighborhood. So she's just like, got it. Well, I'm still gonna come out there because I don't want you to be alone. That's the type of beautiful soul that she is. So she still takes her flight, right? So that night, this is when things get real wonky, right? I go home after setting up my client in her best friend's home who is away from the fire. I go into my apartment complex. I'm waiting for the underground parking gate to lift. And I see this couple, little white cute couple, right? Like a boy, a girl, and a dog. And she's running with her dog in her hands out of my apartment complex. And he's got 2 luggages in each hand right behind her. And I'm like, I rolled down that window so fast. I said, excuse me. And they were like, yeah. I'm like, is there a fire in this neighborhood? They're like, nah, but we not finna risk it. And I was like, got it. Because that actually makes a lot of sense. And I was just like, maybe I should go in and pack. They were like, you should at least have a suitcase packed of your most precious belongings. And I was like, got it. Good advice. So I walk into the house and I open my suitcase and I look around my condo and I'm like, now this is the ridiculousness in me, right? When I tell y'all, either I don't have anything of value to myself or everything's in Chicago or I wasn't in my right mind, I packed some clothes, some shoes, some running shoes, few pieces of jewelry, couple books, and a passport. Bras and panties. Bras are expensive. Wasn't finna leave them. Other than that, I kept looking around my room like, there's nothing, even my laptop. I left my laptop, y'all, because I need to replace it anyway. It's an old MacBook. But I was looking around my room like I really don't have anything here that I can't absolutely let go of, as crazy as that may sound. It made me feel empowered to know that my belongings don't own me. So in the moment that I'm trying to pack my suitcase, I'm getting calls from Chicago. People are going crazy. They're like, what are you doing? Are you gonna leave? You know, my friends are getting aggressive, like, you need to come out here. And I'm explaining to them that, you know, one of my other best friends is about to show up, so I'm not gonna leave quite yet, and things are okay. I get a call from one of my friends, and she's just like, hey, I heard that there's a lot of fires out there. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I just actually packed my suitcase in case something goes down. I feel okay. She's like, good, okay, yeah, because the good thing is with you, you know, you're very low maintenance, so it's not like it'll take a lot for you to leave if you need to. And I know she wasn't trying to insult me, but when she called me low maintenance and I looked down at the suitcase I just packed, I'm like, okay, girl, like, and she's like, no, I don't mean it like you don't take care of yourself, but it's not like you have all these expensive things. And I'm just looking like, it's digging deeper and deeper. So I'm like, no, I got it, girl. Like, she didn't mean no harm, but it was only the comedy in the moment to hear somebody call me like a bum bitch in so many words. And I'm just like, all right, well, I love you. Thanks for checking on me. Hung up, right? Another friend calls. She's just like, hey, Dana, you know, I heard everything is getting kind of crazy out there. I'm gonna need you to come to Chicago. And I'm like, got it, but hear me out. And before I could finish, she'd be like, no, listen to me. You don't watch the news. You're not one of those girls. You're one of those, I don't know, you try to be with the energy, the wave, you're holistic. So I know you're not gonna be looking at the news enough. And I'm like, not that I'm not staying up to date with things and I'm a hippie that is out in the forest instead of like looking at the phone. I have a whole app tracking the fires, but it's like people kept calling me and insulting me subliminally. And I'm like, okay, everybody, I'm an uneducated, hippie-like bum bitch with no true belongings that are worth saving. I just kept getting calls that were like trying to be helpful, but it was making me feel even more like, needless to say, I went to sleep. I didn't panic. The fires weren't close enough to me and I wasn't in an evacuation zone. So I was like, okay, let me just try to get some sleep. Did not sleep. Like, now that was probably the silliest decision I made through this whole experience. To try to sleep in my apartment where there are fires going on everywhere around it. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I looked out the window, there was a huge red blaze with black clouds over the mountains. And I was just looking at the mountains like, I wonder how long it would take for that fire to just creep down. And I didn't sleep very well, if we're being transparent. I just remember making it to the next morning and thinking to myself, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to pack my car up because I love my baby. I'm gonna have to pack her up with this little suitcase and go to Vegas or something for the weekend. So mind you, my friend was landing that day. and my power cut back on in the morning. So I'm like, okay, at least they got the power back on. I go pick her up from the airport. She's like, what is going on out here? Now, the people that are outside, everybody's acting in as much as I can even emphasize what normal could even be in LA, normal. So I'm looking around, nobody's necessarily panicking. I mean, there's a lot of people at the grocery store stocking up. There's a lot of people that are walking around outside kind of videotaping like the blaze on the hill, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, like everybody seems to still be copacetic, like nobody's running for the hills. Now, the thing that I didn't like was when I hopped on the E-way, somebody put this in my mind. They said, if everybody is trying to drive out of LA or out of your area to get away from the fire, where do you think y'all are gonna go? Because the whole expressway is gonna be blocked up. And when I got on the E-way, there's always traffic in LA. But in particular, knowing that fires were in this direction, that direction, it's like, yeah, well, where would be the one clear shot out? I don't know. I'm not even familiar with the area enough to know how to navigate dodging the fires on the E-way. So my friend gets out there. You can tell she's very uneasy. We both decided, like, you need to get on this plane and go right back home because it's not giving that. She's like looking at me like, are you gonna come too? And I'm like, I don't, for some reason, see, I'm big on my intuition. I didn't feel this energy telling me like, you have to go. If I felt that in my heart, and don't get me wrong, I did give myself like markers. Like if this happens, I'm gone. But I remember my sibling calling me and being like, come sleep at my house now. Like, what are you even doing? And I'm thinking like, yeah, they're technically away from, they're not close to any of the fires. So when I dropped my friend off the next day at the airport, they went home and I went to my siblings' home. I felt completely at ease. And it's kind of crazy because it really made me realize, like, when I tell you me and my sibling are like this, like whenever there's something chaotic going on, there could be a death in the family, there could be a fire, there could be, it's always like the universe draws us together. So I'm at their house and that's their pronouns, they, them, I don't want to confuse you all. We decided to watch Blade and they were like, let me cook for you. I remember just feeling so calm and so protected with their energy around me. And I felt like if anything was to ever go down, the one person in the world that I could get out the jam with would be my sibling. I'm trying, because it's never failed. We've always gotten out of the jam with each other. I sat there and I sat in serenity in their apartment and I was just happy because I'm like, wow, what would I do if they weren't here with me in this moment? Like how alone would I feel? How unprotected would I feel? And it was just this very wholesome moment to understand, like, this even draws to my point of the video today. Shit's getting out of hand. I mean, we could all, like, not to project that energy, it's getting out of hand because there's something that's gonna come that's so much bigger and better from it. I don't wanna make this video to induce fear. There's no need to fear anything. However, if we are going to stay aligned and stay level-headed with each other, there's nothing that we can't get through. What doesn't need to happen is the panic. What doesn't need to happen is to let the fear kick in to where you're being irrational. What doesn't need to happen is everybody doing something unhonorable because they're worried about their own salvation or their families. Like if we all just stay leveled and neutral and fair and honest, things will pan themselves out. I mean, look at the state that the country is in. So the fires really taught me, like, listen to your intuition, number one. Be grateful for every single moment that you are living, thriving, breathing, have clean air. I can't describe to you all how smoky the air got at one point. I was just like, okay, so I need to get a gas mask or a smoke mask, number one. It taught me to also be prepared. Like, there are a lot of things where I was like, good, you don't have a lot of things weighing you down, but you also, in case of emergency, how many things do you have accessible to you? So that's another thing that I learned that I wanted to put in this video. The third thing is be very graceful to the individuals that are, just because you're not impacted doesn't mean that people around you don't need your help or aren't not impacted as well. So it taught me to always look out at community and be like, where could I lend a hand? Where can I be more nice? Where can the simplest things, the smallest acts of courtesy meant so much when the fires were going on. Like just slowing down, seeing somebody in a rush, like go before me, it's okay. Like holding a door, asking somebody you don't know, like, are you okay? Like when I tell y'all it meant something, it meant something. And you could see that people were in so much fear because, like I said, I'm not from LA. I'm from Chicago. So I could only imagine, everything that I had built being in this space in this time. And it could potentially be, just burned to ashes. So although I wasn't in that predicament, you know, I'm renting my space out here and I could pick up and go and felt like I didn't have so much attachment. That wasn't the case for so many people. So that's why I had that moment of silence earlier in the video. This was something to live through. It was like a movie, you all, and it really made me understand just how valuable it is to, when I'm in these moments like this, where I can just talk to the camera, I can just tell y'all what I think, and I could just be, you know, healthy, happy, in my skin. I'm not gonna take this for granted. I don't think I ever did, but that walk made me realize I don't ever want to take it for granted indefinitely. So I'm so happy you all came by to listen to my little spew about what I learned about the LA fires. I was going 100 miles an hour. I needed that. I love you. I'm sending you all safety. I'm sending my heart out to the individuals that were impacted by the fires. And I'm also sending out grace to everybody in this time where things seem so uncertain. But remember, like, you hit that valley and then you'll come back to that peak. So don't worry. We're in this together. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Peace.